I'm really thinking that this file is getting pretty long. So should we create another file? Let's go ahead and create another one. We're going to copy paste some code. Let's go ahead and create a new file. Let's call it as 13 and let's call it as loops part 2 maybe, or part 3 is going to come up soon. So there we go. And I'm going to borrow up my state list because I loved it. So we're going to borrow that, copy it and paste it up here. Okay, before I talk about the for each loop, let me tell you that for each loop is not considered as technically loop, but actually as a method on the array. So you're hardly going to find it in the documentation section under the loops category. It's not there, but still it is a loop, very much being used, and it works exactly like a loop. But before that, actually I want to share something interesting here. We actually host out these mock tests for interviews and everything on every single weekend. These are 100% free, no need to even buy a course or anything. You can take these tests. And there was a question given in the JavaScript test which confused a whole lot of people. Let me show you with that as well. So this was posted up there. So we're going to simply say var I is going to be 0, is going to be 0. And this was the syntax that was posted up. So we're going to simply see for, and we see there are 3 parts of it. First and foremost part is the incrementer. So let's just call our declaration. So declaration was there, then separated by comma. Why are you doing this? Separated by comma, we have these checker, which checks out the things are accurate or not, or should I go inside or not. And then we have got our incre or slash decrease. So this is what we have studied so far. So what was asked in the question is something like these: 1 semicolon and 2 semicolon. And then after, this was it. Okay. Interestingly, we had another syntax going up here. So we simply said, hey, you know what? We're going to simply say if I is actually less than 3, we're going to simply say break. And otherwise, we're going to simply say log. And we are going to simply log the value of I. And we are going to also say I++. Okay, interestingly. So what's going to be the output? Now, if you understand the loop syntax clearly, it's not really even a difficult problem. And the whole tricky part is actually this last one, the line number 15, which is I++. Now, it's impossible for a loop to run without having an incrementer, but it's not really compulsory that you put out incrementer even in the for loop at the exact place where it is mentioned. The whole idea is that whatever is taking your loop forward, that value should be increased up. You increase it up here, that's the most recommended way, but you can actually increase it in the body as well in case you want to be tricky. Will I be ever writing this code in the production? Never, 100% never. This is a bad code if I will be writing it in the production. But production and preparing for interviews are 2 different things. We might use them in some competitive programming or something, but not in the production. So in case you're wondering what's going to be the output, let me show you that. So we're going to simply say node 0, 3, and we are in the 13. There we go, pretty simple, 0, 1, 2, 3. And it makes 100% sense. We're not doing anything. It just is going to skip all of this and will directly come here. And if it's going to be greater than I, it's going to just break the execution. Till that, it's going to keep on increasing here and here, so no big deal. Again, just wanted to mention that yes, this actually is here. So, and again, if you want to take part in these quizzes, which happens every weekend, they are all free at Learn Code Online app. Go ahead, enjoy it. If not, that's okay. Up to you. Okay, moving further. So now we have got these list, which is my state, and I want to show you that how these for each loop actually works. Again, not exactly counted as loop, but 100% is a loop. So my states, as soon as you put a dot, you see all the methods like push, length, map, all of them. Some of them we have discussed. You're going to see this for each as well. Let me start writing that. So for each. And notice here, as soon as I say for each, and I put these starting parentheses, notice here it says callback function. And the advantage of this for each loop is, if you remember here in the loop section, if I had to loop through the values, I had to use these my states and the square brackets and mark this indexes. This is sometime pain because there's a lot that you can avoid by using the for each. For each takes a callback function. So how do we give a callback function? We have already kind of seen it once, and this is the one syntax, another one is this syntax. Feel free to use anything, you know the difference between them. And for each goes through automatically with each element. You don't have to say my state square brackets I, you don't say that. I'm going to simply say S for state, and here I'm going to just simply say log s. That's it. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying the square brackets. I'm not using my states. Look how simpler this entire thing is. You simply loop through each and every object. It automatically goes through that and you just print that object. Now, let me just show you first by printing it out. Notice we get all of these values here. So that is one of the great advantage of having a for each loop. You don't have to say I, there is no initialization of the value. There is no worrying about how should I calculate the length of array. There is no worrying about should I increment the value or should I decrement the value. There is nothing like that. We already know it's an array. That means the memory space is fixed and that's already being declared. So why not to have a method like this for each which can loop through and iterate. Now surely we are using a shorthand syntax of the parenthesis here. We can use the curly braces, return the values, do a whole bunch of things that you really want to do, but this is what it is. Now surely later on when we'll be doing maybe some projects, if you'll request enough in the comment section, maybe when we'll be doing some projects or to-do lists, this is insanely used and I use it probably almost everywhere. I don't use much of the for loop on arrays. Every single time if there is an array, I'm going to use for each. It makes sense. So that's it and that's all it is. Told you it's really, really simple, nothing to be pain about, just one line of code. And so easy to understand. And even if I remove these extra parentheses, then it's going to become much more easier. So let me just show you that also. So if I go ahead and remove these parentheses and see this, now this is just one liner. See how simple it is. Yeah, my code editor actually brings it back, but we don't need them. But anyways, this is so simple to have it. Let's run it one more time and we see 2 times being printed the values. So told you, it's really simple. But there are a few more loops which are introduced in the JavaScript. So make sure you just keep in mind that yes, in the ES6 and later on version of JavaScript, we have for each, for in, for off loop as well. And if you're going to be using something like Angular, they are almost everywhere. So just keep that in mind that yes, there are a little bit more loops available. That's it for this one. And let's catch up in the next one. Have you hit that subscribe button? Or probably you are not even watching this part. Come on, I'm making so many videos, I deserve at least one subscribe. That's it for this one. Let's catch up in the next one.